Welcome back, everybody. As we've been getting through the Star Deck season with SDO9 coming out, I've been working on, just playing some SDO9 games with GDO4 cars included because there's no reason not to, pretty much when you're playtesting and trying to get ahead of everything. So the deck's been very, very fun, and I want to bring this to you guys pretty quickly, especially those who want to stay away from Kira. So that's gonna be the topic for today. Before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to Midnight TCG here. Go subscribe and like his channel. He makes a lot of content. You guys are always asking me, hey, when is the gameplay content gonna come out? All this stuff. Midnight TCG puts out a bunch of O content in particular, but also he plays into all the different matchups as locals and new types and so on. So go check out his channel, guys, if you guys are interested in good quality content for gameplay in particular, and then especially if you guys like the O blue white, he plays a lot of that. And then we have Jimmy here. Jimmy is the person responsible for my thumbnail for this video. So if you guys like Digimon in particular, go check out his content. I like watching his Digimon videos that you guys can see here on screen. It's like very, it's a POV of them playing the game. Um, and he's in charge of my thumbnails pretty much. And his thumbnails are, if you guys like my thumbnails, let me know in the comment section below. And go subscribe to Jimmy here, especially if you guys are coming over from other Bandai games like Digimon or are interested in Digimon, or maybe even like other stuff. He does that. Then we got Rain Knight. Shout out Rain Knight. Been working with me since I started. I enjoy his content, especially his gameplay videos. They're very like clear cut, nothing super crazy. And he does gameplay videos of my particular decks. If you guys are interested in any of my decks that you guys would like to see being played by him, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Let him know in his comment section that, hey, I want to know about this deck. I want to see gameplay of this. I know Coach doesn't do gameplay. How about you do one on one of his decks and so on, okay? And then we're going to be doing some collaborations. Ray Knight's got some projects in the works, so look forward to that as well. And then to myself, so as you guys probably know, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys double check if you are subscribed to my channel. If you guys are like, whether you're new to the videos or you've been watching me for a while, I'm gonna assume more than half of you guys are not subscribed to me since not most of my subscribers don't even watch my own content, which is funny. Um, so here we go. So this is my testimonials, guys. If you guys are wondering, like, why is he called Coach SK? I'm literally a full-time coach. I do nothing else but coach all day. I'm coaching like, two individual clients today. I have a new type today, but I'm not going to it because I am prioritizing my own clients and income and all that jazz. Unlike most people who have a job engineering or doing other things, teaching and, have a full-time job. My full-time job is literally just coaching, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And no matter what's going on, I'm pretty much always taking on new clients. So if you guys are interested in improving, getting better at Gundam, maybe there's a new deck coming out like Academy, new support. You guys want to improve and play the game and do well with rogue decks or other decks that people aren't really talking about, like Vagan or Regan, how you want to pronounce it, and so on. Hit me up, ask for, advice. Some people honestly just message me because they want to learn about different things or just asking something about a video. And I don't just coach Gundam, I coach other games as well, like Warhammer 40K. There's a new Gundam assembly game coming out. I'll be playing that as well. And I'm a very competitive person. And not just competitive, people think you have to get coaching, got to be like going pro or something. That's not the case. A lot of my clients are also just trying to improve and have more fun with the game. So as you improve and have more fun with the game, that's what coaching is going to get you pretty much. You're going to have a better time playing, a better time exploring, and showing your community that, hey, I stuck with a particular deck or a particular style of playing the archetype and it's paid off just like recently at the regionals, right? I've been saying like Lupus counters aggro and Lupus carry decks are strong since day one. We finally had a top with Lupus winning the regionals last night, I believe. So congrats to him for taking that deck out there. There's multiple decks that don't even exist in the meta game, or at least not in a high amount. like Xeon or Lupus or Earth Federation Aggro, like all these more rogue decks that, my clients and me play very often, and people are dedicated to their own craft, and we try to improve that craft and teach you the ways of how to make your gameplay better, smoother, and also how to, go out and win your new types, as I'm showing here with all of our accomplishments. Getting a lot of Kiras, new types, wins back to back to back, and so on. Some of them, my clients are not even on here, but that's how it goes. So moving past that, let's get into the deck tech. So new starter deck came out. It's a pretty strong starter deck. Unfortunately, I cannot get my hands on it because of how, product management and all that jazz works. Like, there's no starter decks in my city for me to grab. In fact, one of the stores didn't even get these starter decks, so that's a thing. So in this deck, we are mostly focusing on red purple, as you guys can see, specifically like 90% purple. Okay. And the reason for that is because Blitz Gundam is a very powerful card, and since GDO 1, I've been trying to fit this into Zaft decks. Originally, the strongest cards in Zaft were Blitz Gundam, and I believe Dual Gundam, the one that summons a card from the top of your deck when you pair it. That's not in this deck at the moment, but Blitz Gundam was one of those options. And so Blitz Gundam being in the deck is very, very good, and everything having AP5 very, very easily makes this card extremely powerful. We no longer need to put pilots on everything. We no longer need to have like bases and combos to get Blitz Gundam to activate. Basically, everything's gonna have AP5 for the most part when you decide to use Blitz Gundam, and is also a card that we don't need to rush out as fast as possible. It's a card that we can save or use whenever we like, and we can resurrect it with Awakened Power. And have a good time. Okay, so even if our opponent might think, oh, he's out of Blitz Gundams, or how many does he play? Well, as long as it's in the graveyard and we have Awakened Power in the deck, we can bring it back and continue to activate first strikes. So, starting with Zaku Warrior, we're only running 2 copies of Zaku Warrior in the deck. The reasoning for this is because if we have one resource open and we just need to play something in a hurry or to close the game out, or we only have one resource open with the Destiny Gundam on the board, we can use it to basically summon Zaku Warrior out and be cost effective. If we draw it in an early hand, it's a good way of basically using it like a close combat where we're going to play it out. If our opponent swings into us, Zaku Warrior is going to go take out their GM, and we'll have a good time trading back blows. Otherwise, we can also just suicide Zaku Warriors into their shields. They will block it, and let's say they have an Ale Strike, we can suicide Zaku Warrior into the Ale Strike and also send something else into it as well. Yes, that is a 2-for-1 trade, and that is a negative trade for us, but because we are playing a purple deck, we can revive our units back and like back to back basically over and over again, like up to 10 times or more a game. It's not a big problem because we'll get so many pluses, especially when we talk about Impulse Gundams. So Impulse Gundam here is gonna be a level 3 2 cost 3/3. So it's pretty much a generic standard thing, but it's an LR, which makes it a lot more powerful, having a very strong effect. It links with Sheen. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna go with Sheen. Pretty much, and his ability is active main 2 resources. Return this unit to the bottom of Sonora's deck. Choose 1 unit card with Impulse Gundam in its card name that is level 4 or higher from your trash. Deploy it. Now, some people think this says 4 or less because they don't really read the card for the first time, right? It's a new card, but it's 4 or higher, which basically means you can special summon any Impulse Gundam you want, right? And that's that's going to be Sword Impulse, which basically when you deploy him from the trash, you get to destroy a level 3 or lower unit. So basically Fatal Strike. So this is a on deploy from the trash Fatal Strike, which means we now have access to playing Fatal Strike in our deck, except it's going to be used from the trash, which we're trying to do in the first place. And it's also a unit, which is way more better than just playing a simple Fatal Strike. We can also bring back Force Impulse Gundam. This is effectively a Sharzaku 2. This is level 5, 4 cost, 5/4 stat line. Pretty solid overall. Its ability is destroyed. Choose 1 Minerva Squad unit card with Force Impulse Gundam in its card name from your trash. Add it to your hand. This pretty much will bring back your blocker, Blast Impulse Gundam, and it will bring back your Sword Impulse Gundam or your Impulse Gundam from the beginning. So all the Impulse Gundams kind of work together, or at least most of them, and it's very, very strong. Okay, so we're running 4 copies of this. This acts as a Shard 2 where when this thing dies, when this card dies and sent to the graveyard or the trash, we are going to grab a different card and replace it, which is really, really good. And once we do that, we can basically grab our Impulse Gundam, deploy it, activate its ability to get Sword Impulse from our trash, replacing Impulse Gundam, and then destroying something. So again, this is like a +1 and a +2 all of a sudden because Sword Impulse Gundam destroys our opponent's unit, and then it's probably going to be, it's going to go kill something as well on the attack. So that's pretty much how this all the Impulse Gundam right there are really, really strong. So Impulse Gundam is a staple card in the deck. We're gonna be running 4 copies of it. It's very, very strong. And it's one of the main ways that we like. We really do want to mulligan for this card if we can. We don't always have to because we have ways. We play a Minerva base, which basically lets us scry the top 2 cards of our deck, put one to the top, one to the trash, so we can kind of get through our deck a little bit faster than other people. And especially since we're not playing white, this is basically an overflowing affection. So Impulse Gundam is very, very good. Gundam Haji Roboshi. This card is in the deck basically until we get additional support. Whether we get our own blocker, Impulse Gundam early, like Impulse, what is this guy called? Blast Impulse Gundam. Maybe we'll get another Impulse Gundam that's just a blocker early on. Who knows? But for now, we're playing this card because what this deck really, really struggles into is going to be um, decks that can go really, really wide or be really, really aggressive. Okay. And it's not that it struggles in the sense of like it can't keep up. This deck can 100% keep up with cards like Impulse Gundam and playing all these like 2 and cheaper units basically and having multiple links. So you can definitely keep up with them, but eventually it comes to a point where we're both low on shields or we just can't kill them and they can kill us because we don't have as much interaction. So we're playing this card as a blocker. It's also a purple card, which is just nice in case we want to add different cards down the line. But Awakened Power is going to be used to also bring this back if we need to, or brings Blast Impulse Gundam back if we need to basically keep our defenses up, slow the game down even further, and gain more of an advantage on our opponent. Since Impulse Gundam can basically trade with on non-linked units really, really effectively, and this one is just a cheaper blocker we can use our resources to grab back. So this is again a good early game card. What I found with this deck very at the very beginning was that I really wanted to include something in the early game that was just not Impulse Gundam, right? I was playing Impulse Gundam at first, and I was like, okay, I need something more because only running 4 copies or 6 copies of Akuvari is not enough. So we decided to include Gundam Hajiro Boshi, okay? So that's why it's there. Just an early game defensive card. You block Rick Diaz, Rick Doms, and anything else you like with it, Rozelles, and it really slows your opponent down. So in the beginning of the game, you're gonna be basically going Zaku Warrior, and then like this guy play the blocker out, and all of a sudden your opponent can't attack you, and they can't really get through your shield and aggro you down, which helps us get to our level 5 curve. Right, and then once we're at the level 5 curve, we can pretty much start activating Blitz Gundams to gain first strike, to gain even more value, and start recycling our cards. And now we're just going to trade back and forth with them over and over again until we come out on top, and we can start utilizing our combo pieces to, try and get Sword Impulse Gundam on the board over and over again to destroy any level 3 or lower unit that they might have. So talking about Sword Impulse Gundam, there is a new Sword Impulse that was just revealed, but I guess EX Burst doesn't have it yet. And so the best thing you can do is basically reduce this blocker count by 2, or remove the Zaku Warriors completely, as we almost never see it, and include the new Sword Impulse Gundam, which basically what it reads is on deploy, you it's a level 4 2 cost, 3/3 stat line, and it does link. And on deploy, you deal 1 damage to itself, and then you can rest a opposing unit that is AP 3 or less. That is attack power 3 or less. What this means is you can rest Grandpa Gundams that have no pilot onto it. You can rest Rig Doms, Lifrits, uh, Rig Diaz's, Zolwarts, almost any, like a lot of many, many blockers in the game, like Launcher Strikes as well, and many like many GMs down the line. If you're playing into those like more aggro style unit heavy decks, you can really in the late game interact with your opponent and then attack them. One of the weaknesses of this deck was them going wide on you. Now you have an armor array built in where you can keep bringing it back. Your opponent thinks it's okay to play a unit because it's not going to get eaten up. Well, it's going to get eaten up. It basically acts like an O deck in that sense, where we're playing a very good mid-rangey deck with scaling, and then we're going to keep activating our Impulse Gundams to interact with our opponent's board, whether it's destroying a level 3 or less unit or resting a AP 3 or less unit and then suiciding into it or taking it out with Blitz Gundams and things like this. And if our opponent ever decides to attack us with something strong, okay, with like Omega G Quarks or anything like this, Blitz Gundam comes in very, very handy where we can just give anything in our arm in our deck first strike and just take it out immediately. Okay, and that makes it really, really hard for our opponent to swing even a Wing Gundam into us, right? Because our pilots, like Sheen, is a 3+3+0 pilot. It's going to basically improve all of our units. You can see like a lot of like, so our weakest unit, ignoring the Zaku, is like 3 AP. So 6 AP, that pretty much takes care of anything level 6. Then we go into the 4 staple guys here, and that's 7 AP now. Then we get to 8 AP. So we can get to 8 AP in this deck. That's enough to take out most things in the game outside of Wing Zero Link, right? So Unicorn Gundam, level 8 Link as well. Banner Link just dies in one shot to a Blitz Gundam, or we can get rid of the cards very, very easily. So what Sheen almost is in the deck, outside of being a Sled of Mercury to get your resource back, which is okay. Mostly works as Destiny Gundam, so you can bring back your sort of Impulse Gundam on perfect curve. You are utilizing it as a +3 AP card. So it's an with Iron and Blood pretty much. You activate this, plays as a command card, and if you have one in your hand, then activate it with Destiny Gundam down the line, so you can get the link off, right? That's the only reason to have this. Otherwise, you want to use this willy-nilly to really get over big units and give yourself advantages, or possibly play it for links for the late game and get a lot of damage in. So let's move on to the other card here. Oh, actually, let's keep talking about Sword Impulse Gundam first. This card is a 4/2. If your opponent kills it, it's no problem. A lot of people will struggle and be like, okay, I don't want to attack into it anymore. I'm going to let it survive. I'm not going to close combat or anything because, yes, it's going to attack my shields. Yes, it's going to try to do something. But if I trade with it, then my opponent's just going to bring it back to life. And they're always scared about that. They're almost always scared about it. Like they're scared about running into a unforeseen incident. And they're just thinking, okay, you probably are going to have an unforeseen incident or a revival spell or something like that at all times uh, in the deck, right? Because we're playing purple, we have so many ways to bringing this card back to life that is probably going to happen. That's not always the case in this deck, actually, but that's I think a reason for that is because people are not used to playing this deck yet, so they need to realize that we don't always have the way of doing it. But if we do, it is very punishing. So they're always trying to play around that. So their Sword Impulse Gundam, you bring this back at least 5 times a game, and in those longer matchups, you actually can bring it back like 10 times a game, which is ridiculous. Now, obviously, it comes back a couple of times from Impulse Gundam, Awakened Power, and also once you hit Destiny Gundam, that's when things really start to get crazy because Destiny Gundam will keep playing units, okay, for you. Which is why he usually gets taken out pretty quickly, but sometimes it's okay if he gets taken out because he gets to bring back almost anything that's, you know, basically Blast Gundams, Impulse Gundams, Sword Impulse Gundams, like all these good units. Let's move on to the most like interesting card in the deck that was at first going to be removed, but I said no, I'm gonna playtest this with this a little bit more. I'm really really quick to make changes in my decks because I've probably been playing card games for like such a long time and don't need to waste time to make the correct changes and so on. But Raise Blaze Zaku Phantom. Number one's a Zaku, so I love that. Like I love Zaku's. Number two, this guy links with basically the only other pilot that we have access to that it's a rare, like a really good pilot, right? So, and the way that this guy works is that he himself is just a 4/3, so a Rizal stat line, and he costs 3. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I hate 3 cost cards at the level 4. Like, I might as well play Rizal. And this guy's ability, when this unit receives damage from an enemy, reduce it by 1, right, is very strong because it's once per turn on either turns, and then they can no longer, adapt ping you to finish you off. They can no longer go shot your link, finish you off. They really have to commit multiple pings to remove the Zaku Phantom from the game, and they need to do it on both players' turns if they want to get around it. And sometimes they want to leave their mana open, ping you, but there's no reason to do it anymore. So it really affects your opponent's resource management as well. Now it only affects on link. So if you link this guy, it links with anything, which is what makes it so cool. Is that unlike Gundam Amuro and Aegis Gundam and all these other like really good level 4 units, this is our Minerva squad, basically level 4 powerhouse link, right? Just how all those other cards I talked about are really good. Raise Blaze Zaku Phantom is our level 4 Gundam or Atherin link and all that jazz. So this card is going to be linked with Ray's Burl? Yeah. Ray anyways. So once you link it, the pilot reads, it's level for one cost pilot, 1/2 stat line, so a better stat line for having a lot of defensive output like Sleda, which I favor. Choose one of your Zaft links. During this turn, reduce the next damage it receives by 2, which means if your opponent wants to play around this, they could, play some, if not yet, but if there was an action card that pinged a unit for 1 damage, it would eat up this card's effect. But overall, the main point is when you link him, it reduces the next damage taken by 3, which is huge. Okay, this is a 5/5 stat stick. On link, it's going to swing into something. It's going to reduce damage by 3. That's basically like an armor array swinging into something and surviving. So if this swings into your opponent's armor array, you and Gundam Link, you will destroy their Gundam Link, and then you will only take 2 damage, which is insane. And then on their turn, they can't battle aces to finish you off. They have to ping you for 4 because of your reduce 1 damage per turn, which is really good. And gun tanks and all these things like start getting their abilities wasted, which makes this card really powerful. And once we move into like this, almost acts as a first strike, right? So we have first strike from Blitz Gundam, we have first strike from Ray's Blaze Zaku Phantom. Then what happens is your opponent thinks, okay, the Blaze Zaku Phantom has 1 HP left or 2 HP left, right? I can't ping it off, so I'm not gonna bother with it right now. The next time it swings into me, it will take care of itself. What happens actually is you play the Blitz Gundam, giving Blaze Zaku Phantom first strike because it's Zaft unit, and then you get to gain even more value out of it. And your opponent goes, "What the hell just happened? My plan was for him to destroy himself, and it'll be okay. But now he got a first strike off, killed my unit, survived, and now he's gonna go kill more units down the line. He's becoming a nuisance." So Raise Blaze Zaku Phantom is something your opponent has to watch out for because it's effectively going to read this unit gains first strike and it's going to kill your opponent's unit, not take any damage. And this thing can survive hits from up to level 7 AP powerhouse units, which is crazy. So Wing Gundam, for example, now you might not be attacking the Wing Gundam, but let's say the Wing Gundam attacks you, it survives. You can link Raise Blaze Zaku Phantom, link it with Ray, and then all of a sudden reduces that AP, the damage taken from Wing Gundam from 7 to 4. This is the 5/5. It survives, and Wing Gundam dies. So it basically does act like a first strike right there. It's really crazy that it can survive a hit from a AP7 unit. Lots of the red decks play a lot of AP7, like Kshatriya links and so on, and you just don't die, which is super good. And then if they do want to play, Gun Tank or Kshatriya Link next turn, they can't ping Raise Blaze Zaku Phantom off. They gotta use a second ping to get through it, which is really good. So let's move on to Blitz Gundam, which we already kind of talked about. I'm running 4 copies of this in the deck. And then with the Awakened Power, we potentially have the access to 6 copies. One thing you're gonna find with this deck is, unlike other card games, we have like Foolish Burial and like cards that mill ourselves every single turn, like Lightsworn, Classic Yu-Gi-Oh, and even Magic the Gathering. It's very powerful to find a card that just discards something from your deck to the trash, especially in Commander, so you can start comboing off, right? In Gundam, we don't have access to that because they don't want that level of consistency and deck building and whatnot. So we are very forced to just play from whatever we're going to get from the top of our decks, right? There's no shuffling and there's no searching. So we have to play more copies of these cards and then try to send them to the trash. If we ever got a card like Soul Release, or send the top 5 cards of your deck to the trash, and then maybe like, draw a card or grab one of them into your hand, that'd be very powerful in purple decks in general. But Blitz Gundam here is just a really good card, and I'm running 4 copies of this because, our opponent always thinks like, how many unforeseens do you have? How many first strikes do you have? Well, with Blitz Gundam, dude, we're gonna always have first strikes. Like, no matter if you're playing into somebody playing this deck, they're always gonna have first strike. Like, it's always gonna be in their hand. It's always gonna be. If it's in the trash, then it's even higher possibility that they can now get it either from a draw or from Awakened Power. It's very good. So that's why we're playing 4 copies of this. You could play 3 yourself. I haven't adjusted all the ratios to like perfect competitive ready deck, for example, because I'm still in the playtesting phase. But this is like still a very good place to start. And this deck does really, really good into any blocker deck. Any deck that is not trying to kill you as fast as possible or is not going to play like 4 GMs in one turn, this deck is really good into. And it's not like you're out of the game against aggro, just you're going to win less, right? And into the blocker decks where they're trying to gain value over you with show resolves and the O and stuff, this deck just destroys them because they can't outvalue our trash resurrection and our trash manipulation, basically. So it's really, really powerful, really, really good. And all of our high AP makes it so that we just start trading with all the red decks, purple decks. Um, and they're not going to have a good time. So really good card. This is the entire reason we're playing red. If this card did not exist, I would not be playing red. Okay, that's it. So Force Impulse Gundam, just a Sharazaku 2. You could cut this card down to 3. I don't think playing 4 copies of this is necessary at all, actually. It's one of the worst cards in the deck overall, but we're playing 4 copies right now because it's new, it's an LR, and sometimes it just, again, the Gundam, you don't have the consistency of getting the cards you want and have access to them every single game. So we're playing 4 copies at the moment, and as I make my second video, as we get the full set reveal, because we're still getting some Minerva squad cards, like I mentioned earlier, it will basically change what this deck looks like, but we're pretty much going to stay in this realm, okay? So really good card. I think even if you only have access to one starter deck and you only have 2 of these, you're perfectly fine. But I would recommend playing 3 to 4. And I recommend starting with 4, getting a feel for it at full power or full capacity. And then as you start to see, oh, this is kind of bricky, this kind of doesn't do what it wants, you don't want as many of them in your hand, then you can take it out and reduce it to 3. Because sometimes I do see 3 a game, and I really only need to see 2 at most a game. And 1 even is like totally okay. Blast Impulse Gundam. This is our blocker. I was playing the other 5-3 first because it was like a 5-4 vanilla that I love. But I said, okay, we're gonna put in Blast Impulse Gundam. Resurrecting this card is like key. It is actually so crazy that it makes your opponents be like, oh my god, I just got rid of your blocker. He's back. He's back again. He's back again. And your opponent just can't deal with it. They can't close the game out because we can basically, keep reviving our Blast Impulse Gundam. And I told my opponents like, yeah, once I have one Impulse Gundam in the trash, I can just bring him back over and over and over again, and I'm perfectly happy with that. So great card. Definitely run 4 copies of this. Send it to the trash. And that's one of the good things about this deck is you do want cards in the trash. So if your opponent is hitting your shields, they are fueling your combo pieces and what you can do in your turn. And Minerva base obviously is also doing that. Now moving on to Destiny Gundam, I wonder if there's a alternate art for this or not. Doesn't look like it, right? So EX Burst is not updated with Destiny Gundam yet. Let me see if there's a English version for you guys real quick. Gotta scroll all the way down. Why is it showing me Destiny Gundam? Yeah, there's no Destiny Gundam yet, unfortunately. So basically what this card reads, level 7, 5 cost. Okay, 5/5 stats. Basically it's a Justice Gundam. It has high maneuver built in, which is good for closing out games or taking out something really, really strong that you need to take out. And then on top of that, its ability is on pair, on attack, so you must be paired, then on attack, you can pick one of your Minerva squad units from your trash, pay its cost, and special summon it. It's really, really strong. So this is a purple Justice Gundam, and it basically on attack every single time will resurrect a unit. So you can basically start bringing back units from your trash, and so your entire deck acts as your hand size at this point, and you can play cards over and over again. Now, he will not stay on the board for more than a turn usually, and if he does, you pretty much will, I think, will win the game on the spot. Um, One thing cool about Destiny Gundam is that it's any Minerva squad unit, which means you can attack with Destiny Gundam with a link, and then if you have the resources, like on the next turn, if he survives, replay a Destiny Gundam from your trash. So now you have 2 Destiny Gundams. So that's what makes this card really, really powerful is that it's not limited like our Impulse Gundams that can only bring back Impulse Gundams. This card says any Minerva squad and you just bring it back. Okay, so it's going to be really, really good. Once we get the English version, I will update this list, and so keep an eye on this list. Come back to it in a couple of days or with new additions. And as you guys know, with all of my links in my description below, where you guys can see this deck list for yourselves and copy it, etc. It's going to be adjusted over time, and so you can stay up to date like that. Rather than going to someone's Metafy and doing all that stuff to keeping up to date, I just update the deck list with the same link and keep them, and then you guys can go ahead and follow along or see what changes I have made and what's Coach up to. So that's Destiny Gundam. This card is not needed as a 4 of. It is a good card like Justice Gundam, but again, you don't need to play 4 Justice Gundams. Right, we're not playing Athens Zala and in a Justice deck, so we don't need 4 Justices. In this deck, for example, we're playing Destiny Gundam. You only need to revive once or twice with him, and the game is pretty much yours. He is a big card and a brick in your hand, and there's ways to get it back from your trash. Uh, why am I saying there's ways? You cannot get this back from your trash, but this card is just strong overall. Okay, so play this card. Oh, the way I'm saying it because you can play Destiny Gundam, bring a second Destiny Gundam back from your trash because it's the Minerva squad. So it's a good card. I don't think you need many copies. It looks super badass with this sword. I cannot wait to see its LR plus or LR plus plus if we get that. This card's gonna be insane. Hopefully all you guys like Zaft enjoyers are finally happy with like Zaft getting a really, really good fun deck, and it's purple on top of that, which is really cool. We're moving on to Minerva base. We're always going to play 4 copies of this. This card is exceptional in this deck in particular, just like in green with Academy, St. Gabriel's Academy. Being able to filter through your deck is really good. It always feels good. It can make a difference in your games as well. And with Minerva Squad, this is the card that you want to basically play turn 1 if you can. If you go second, which you are going to try and go second every single time in Gundam, you want to play Minerva Squad immediately and then try to get cards into your trash. One, this thing will tell your opponent that, hey, he's found the Sword Impulse Gundam. It's time to cry a little bit because all of my early game cards are now vulnerable to getting picked off, which means I need to start swinging into him or not play them, and be careful about that, right? It allows you to manipulate your next turn and dig to your Sword Impulse Gundam as fast as possible. Playing a Sword Impulse Gundam from your hand is perfectly fine, but if we can, we don't want to play it from our hand. We want to just like have it go to the trash from the shields or from the top of the deck. I wish we had more options in Minerva Squad, which hopefully we'll get command cards and another unit in GDO4 that allows us to put cards into the trash easier. We're running 2 battle aces in the deck. This is our other red card. Only really this might be changed to all range attack depending on like our matchups and how much we actually need to play all range into like the new Xeon decks that can be coming out with all the token stuff. Because once tokens go wide and they start dropping multiple tokens, it's gonna be really hard for us to stay on top of that. Because we are like very much of a mid-range deck where we can only play 1 or 2 units a turn. If somebody is playing 2 to 3 or 4 units a turn, it's really hard for us to tackle that, and we don't have as many ways of resting bigger units or dealing with them. So battle aces, when our opponent thinks they're going to survive or go for a good trade, battle aces will finish them off. Now, one thing to know about battle aces is a lot of people think, oh, it deals 3 damage and then it finishes something off. Okay, so you want to, deal damage to something first and then deal 3 damage to it. I just read battle aces as a card that says kill a unit. Kill a damage unit. So read this card actually as saying kill a damage unit. Once you read it like that, you can pretty much take out anything in the game because it reads kill a damage unit, and that's why it's in the deck. I was playing the other purple card that exiles 6 decisive last resort, which exiles 6 purple cards from your trash, and then you can destroy anything on the battlefield. And its burst ability is to on burst deal 2 damage to a level 3 or less unit. I took that out of the deck because we really want to keep our trash filled with cards, and we don't have as many ways of milling ourselves unless we go play white, right? Which we're not trying to because Blitz Gundam is so powerful that basically Blitz Gundam it reads as a show resolve in my opinion, if not +3. Okay, so Battle Aces is very, very good, and it's in there right now just to get rid of the bigger threats. It's not needed in the deck at all, so as we get more cards, we'll replace and tweak the deck around. Our main pilot here, Sheen, he is basically linking with everybody in the deck, and he's +3/+0, which makes people second guess. Like, some people are like, Kira AP reduce, it's like, okay, my unit's still like 6 AP, it's still 5 AP, it's still gonna kill you. And so it makes it really, really hard for your opponent to just start swinging into you. This also is a pilot that links with everything. So if you need to go for closing games out, you can. If you need to link something once you resurrect it, for example, with Impulse Gundam, you can attack with Impulse Gundam and then pay the 2 costs to return it to the bottom and then bring out Sword Impulse Gundam. Once you do that, you destroy your opponent's unit, right? You can then bring Sheen in and link it and then swing again, possibly taking out a second unit. So our link is very much there to take out any of our opponent's threats on the board because we don't want to lose all of our shields very, very quickly. We want to just stay healthy as much as possible and then run our opponent out of resources. And if they don't want to interact with us, we can start swinging at their shields and force them to. We already talked about this pilot. This pilot also is really good with any of our zapped units, by the way. I like putting it onto Sword Impulse Gundam quite often just to get that hit in, because it reads choose one of your zapped linked units, which can be its own linked unit, and Sword Impulse Gundam here links with Coordinator and Minerva Squad, which he is a Minerva Squad unit. So putting onto anybody like Sword Impulse Gundam all of a sudden kind of makes Sword Impulse Gundam have 6 HP. Okay, so going from 2 HP to 6 HP is kind of ridiculous because he will reduce damage by 2, which is crazy. So now all of a sudden that Sword Impulse Gundam that your opponent thought they were going to close combat or it was going to suicide and destroy itself, well, it's not going to because Ray will go onto it, reduce damage by 2, and now it can kill a GM, have 4 HP remaining. It can kill a Rizal and only take 2 damage and then have 2 HP remaining. It's very, very good. So consider Ray, Blaze, and Ray's Subburl as our like Atherin Link or our Gundam Link. It's very, very good. Okay, then our final card, Awakened Power. I'm probably going to up this card to 3 copies. I've been saying it for a long time. If you guys do not own the Awakened Power alt arts, you guys should have bought them already like day 1 because they are going for $20 right now. This is a very good card. It's going to be a staple throughout all of Purple's history pretty much until we get a better version of this card. But even then, it's a really, really good card. And it basically makes Purple work. And all the Purple decks pretty much play from trash. I think Purple is the main color that wants to stay within its own domain, basically, its own color. And does only wants to splash a couple cards from something else. And as we get 100 different purple cards eventually for like Minerva Squad or something else, we're only gonna play like mono decks pretty much, right? Unless we're playing a broken card like Wing Zero, not Wing Zero is not broken, but like a very strong card like Wing Zero or Blitz Gundam. There's no other reason to play cards outside of purple, especially as we get more interaction like Decisive Last Resort that interacts with purple cards being in the trash. So Awakened Power is great, and I would up this count to 3 if I were making this deck again or adjusting it. I'd reduce like this Gundam blocker to 3 and then up this card to 4, or remove one of the Destiny Gundams. But sometimes it's good to have Destiny Gundam in those late game battles against the O. But we'll get more cards as we get more GDO for content. So this is the whole deck. This is what I've been playing. It's really, really strong. I think I'm 15 and 3 into blocker decks. That's including the O, that's including red white, that's also including I've beaten Clan a bunch of times. I think I'm undefeated against Clan, or I think I lost one game. I went 5 and 1 against Clan. And then against Xeon Rush or Blue Green Xeon, right? I have lost most of my games, but it's about still a 35-40% win rate where the deck can definitely hang because of Sword Impulse Gundam and the other Impulse Gundam. And then of course we play a few blockers, so we're not out of the game completely. Like we do have Rig Diaz in the deck and bases that we're trying to play, so we can 100% block early, then play Sword Impulse Gundam, destroy them, and then start trading, and then all of a sudden come out on top. Because Gundam Amuro, usually when you swing into Gundam Amuro, you lose your own link unit, but with Ray on the board, their Gundam Amuro is going to die for free, and we're not going to have to worry about anything. And if they want to swing their Gundam Amuro again into Ray, they're going to lose even more link units. So it makes it really, really good for us. And if we need to bring him back from the trash, we can with Destiny Gundam, Awakened Power, and he's very good for that. And then all of a sudden, all of our pilots are always live and useful down the line. Unlike other decks that are hanging on to that Kira, trying to wait to draw into their linkable units, we just bring the same unit back from the trash and link anything we want immediately. I'm very surprised that this card links with any Minerva squad, and basically the entire deck links with any Minerva squad except for obviously like Impulse Gundam and Destiny Gundam, right? Those are our main pilots, and I'm very happy that these cards are not meant to be linked and go offensive. They're meant to be used as a blocker. They're meant to, go to the trash and die so we can go grab our Impulse Gundam and then Sword Impulse, and they're just playing by themselves, and the pilot is there just as a stat stick to increase our AP, and it's mostly there to keep one in your hand. So when you do play Destiny Gundam, you can link it immediately and then start doing many, many things. This also, Destiny Gundam being a pair, means if we do draw a Ray, we can just pair the Destiny Gundam, give it plus 2 HP, make it a 6/7, and then on the next turn when it swings, it will automatically get to summon units from the trash, which is very, very good. Now, I'm not playing white, and I'm not gonna bother playing white because, guys, I don't know why most of the community went straight to playing Kira blockers in a fucking like beatdown deck that has resurrection from the trash. I really don't like that everybody who like builds a deck automatically goes straight to blockers and running Kiras and Ale Strikes and like all that jazz. I understand that they got a new LR, it's level 6, it has suppression, but we're not trying to win the game early by bouncing our opponent's cards and aggroing them down. We're trying to build a lot of value because we are a purple deck, so like death, black, so on. It's gonna outvalue our opponent, and it's gonna make our opponent very annoyed that whatever they play on the board is getting picked up, and whenever they kill a unit, it's literally coming right back to life the next turn or in 2 turns, right? So we want to make it as annoying as possible, trade really, really effectively, and we're not playing white. If you are thinking of running overflowing affections and new signs and stuff, like in the Lupus carry decks, and you don't like Blitz Gundam, that's up to you. You can 100% go down the white line and run some unforeseen incidents. Will be the first card I would put in the deck to keep our units alive longer, especially with the Ray here, who can reduce damage. It's like very, very strong to reduce it by 4 or reduce it by 6 on the turn that he's linked. Is kind of crazy. And another card that is interesting would be to run with Iron and Blood. We can run different bases like the Vulture base that mills 2. There is a command card in Minerva Squad. There's a purple pilot that is purple command pilot. Oh, I'll talk about that in a second. Purple command pilot. Where is it? Okay, anyways, let's talk about giant killing. Everybody's super hyped about giant killing, guys. I'm not super hyped about giant killing. The best thing this is gonna do is trade 1 for 1. Now I know there's cards in the game that exist that have 4 AP, like Gundam, Wing Gundam, and Freedom Gundam level 7. Yes, you can one shot them, but we don't have any ways of reducing AP in this deck. I'm not going to go play white to go play Unforeseen Incident and then play Giant Killing. It's a 2 card to kill like one guy or 2 for 2 trade. And it's, again, now I need to draw both of those cards, keep them on my hand to do something. So I'm not super impressed with Giant Killing overall, except for like in Vagan, where the deck is trying to reduce your opponent's AP with Zahart as the default, right? If we are playing, if we get more Vagan cards and we get more purple cards down the line that do say when this card goes to the trash, reduce the opponent's AP by 3 or something, and we have more access to that, and we don't have to go find white cards or play unforeseen incidents and all this stuff, then this card is like, for me, it's not very good. It's not going to make me win the game. It's not crazy. Fatal Strike was more powerful because it synergized with what my deck is trying to do, and that is try to out aggro our opponent very, very quickly and then destroy their blockers to keep swinging, which made it be very, very strong and useful. And the stronger you are in the early games, the faster you're going to win and the more impact you'll have. And it's a snowball effect. Giant Killing, when you do get to play this card later on into the game, one, it's a level 4 card, so it's not really designed to kill level 7 units in the first place. And if you do try to kill level 7 units, you're keeping this card in your hand and waiting, 3, 4 more turns to finally play Giant Killing. And if your opponent knows you're playing purple, they're just not going to play that 4 AP unit, especially because in this purple deck, we're not, and really a really aggressive deck. We're just going to be sitting around waiting for opponent to play cards, deal with them, and thus we don't need to play this card. I'd rather play Fatal Strike and have impact on the board immediately. It's cheaper. It's only a 2 cost card. We play cards like Blitz Gundams instead. So I'm not a fan of this card overall. Oh, here she is. Re or I guess it's a he apparently. Reliable Big Brother. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, this card is a close combat effectively. We're not playing this card in the deck because it's a main phase. You trash the top two cards of your deck, and for every Minerva squad, aka two, you're gonna deal damage to something with four or less AP. So deal two damage. It's a close combat for one that mills two cards. Milling is nice. The damage is not as reliable as possible. And because of that, I'd rather just play Battle Aces that literally reads destroy a unit, pretty much. And having the 2 HP here is interesting. I do like that. But unfortunately, we don't want to have too many pilots in our hand, as our pilots are already just like command pilots, essentially. Um, and we're forced to run Sheen because of Destiny Gundam, and he links with everything in the deck. So that's why I'm not running this card. I don't think it's a mandatory. I think you could run one in the deck just to have access to an extra Minerva essentially by milling yourself. And it's purple. Um, that's kind of it. Not big keen on this card. I wish she had a better Gundam to link with. Then I'll be more like, oh, okay, having a stronger link with this card is really, really good. But we don't have access to that. Then we're not playing cards like Liquid Determination because our deck is not trying to mill fast as possible. So Liquid Determination value goes down significantly because it's much stronger in decks that can mill like, you know, every other turn they can basically start milling over and over again. Like with Vagan, with Vulture, when you're milling like every other turn, this card becomes significantly better. When you are adding white cards to your deck to mill fast, this is when you want Look at Determination to basically be live as fast as possible. I played this card and killed a Gundam on turn 4 and turn 5 before. I think it was turn 5. Killed it on turn 5, which is very, very nice. So if you can mill your deck and get your 10 cards in the trash by turn 5, uh, let's just say like half the time, maybe like 40% of the time, then Liquid Determination becomes a lot better. And as we head into more mid-range decks, which I know a lot of people are still shit talking about, that mid-range doesn't really exist in Gundam, I don't agree with that. I think Gundam is flawed in many ways, but I still do think that mid-range decks are a real thing. Whether they fit the natural mid-range archetype that other games go to is a different topic. But yeah, this card is a very good card if you do not own your Altar for Look of Determination. I do think that this card will be a staple. It'll probably get an SB down the line as well. It's a burst effect. It's like a really, really good. It's a CV card, so again, really, really good. Um, CV because of the character on it. So it's a solid card. Which with Iron Blood is a good tech card. You can 100% add one of these to the deck, acting as an additional sheen. But I'm not playing that right now. I do believe that with Iron and Blood is a exceptional card. As powerful as Unforeseen Incident is, with Iron and Blood is just as goddamn strong, if not stronger, because it affects your own units and your opponent's basically going to try and suicide their big guys into your small guys, and not all your small guys punch up, which is really good because what wins Gundam at the end of the day is like the big Gundams, not really the small guys outside of like the aggro decks. So you really want to get rid of your opponent's like big cards because once those big cards are out of the picture, your big cards are still on the board or in your hand, you will ultimately win the game. And those big cards have good effects. That's pretty much all I want to say about this right now. If you guys like this video, like this content, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments you guys are playing this. Let me know how you guys did at your starter event. I know my clients all went. They all played red, white. Sorry, not red, white. Purple, red. They all went with purple, red. They asked me what should I play, what like color combination. I said red and purple is the best. It's more aggressive. It has Atherin, it has interaction. It has some of the most the best mechanics in Gundam that you're looking for in a deck, like attacking standing units, breaching, first strike, all in the same deck, on top of obviously resurrection and stuff. So we are playing purple red to win the star deck events, and then yeah, hopefully red purple picks up as the main way of playing this deck in particular. I know some people are experimenting trying to add Vulture and other archetypes into this. Now we're not going to be adding first form Barbados and Mikazuki and all that nonsense into this because Why would I do that? Okay, if we want to add the strongest archetype, let's just say I want to add wing zeros to the deck. Like, okay, if that is what's winning you the game, or is almost like a crutch for you, then you need to better your deck building skills or how you're playing the game. If you're gonna add Mikazuki and that whole package into the deck, it's a strong package, but it does disrupt your Minerva plan. Okay, it does pull away from having access to all of these good tech pieces and cards, and I don't think we should be adding um the Tekken support into this because we don't need the ping damage, we don't need the extra draw power off first form, and if we are gonna be adding those cards to the deck, it's basically gonna end up looking like, okay, let's add in a couple of GMs, let's run 8 GMs, let's add Adept in first form and Barbados, and then we're gonna win the game not because we're playing how Minerva Squad's supposed to play with Graveyard Revival. It's gonna be the GMs doing most of the work and getting to cheese your opponent out of a win, and that will happen. The other thing I want to say is that talking about Tekkadan here at the end of the video, that people think that the only way to play Tekkadan, as proven wrong with Lupus and Lupus Carry, right, is to play Blurple. And they were thinking that Blurple beats Lupus Carry. Lupus Carry does not beat Lupus Carry beats Blurple because we're both playing the same early game, so we're both as aggressive as possible for the most part. And then I have the late game as well. So like I'm gonna win that because I have the early game, same as you, mirror match, and then I play Lupus, basically a wing zero, and I start winning the game. So that's how that works out. There are other deck archetypes in the Tekkadan. So if you want to play Akihiro, I believe his name is, if you want to play that type of route with Full City, you should explore that. And if you need help exploring it, I'm available for like coaching and deck building and all that. But you guys should be exploring different concepts. And I explore purple a lot more. I think purple is definitely a little bit underexplored and what you should be trying to aim to do with it. It's very clear. You should be using your trash and using it as a beatdown resource deck that can out resource your opponent very, very heavily. And Minerva squad here does a lot of that with Destiny Gundam and getting value off Impulse with Sword Impulse. So go try those older archetypes out. Start testing with Iron and Blood, with different bases, and get a design of what your deck is trying to do. Is it trying to make your small guys punch up really, really high? Is it trying to revive back the GMs over and over again? Then you can also ping it and again swing really, really high. That is a good archetype for Tekkadan, kind of giving away what you should be doing with it. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna go coach in an hour, so I'll see you guys on the next video.